Hey guys, this is Amal from TechLeatherCraft. In this video, I'm going to show you how to restring one of my leather Moleskine Field Notes journal covers. This is the main elastic, and I'll be also showing at the end of the video how to add an elastic to add more pieces to add more journals to the inside of this. But the main purpose of this tutorial is to how to restring this main elastic. From use over time, this can stretch out over time, and then we just recently upgraded to a new elastic. This is a 2.5 millimeter elastic, and I'll probably post a link in the description for anyone who wants. But it should work with your existing journals if you have it. If you need to replace the elastic over time, these can stretch out. On my checkbook cover, I have my checkbook in here, and then I've been adding like a receipts books and stuff. And so over time, as you kind of pull it over and off, it can kind of wear just on the edges over here, and the elastic can kind of wear down. So I just replaced this with the new elastic. So I'm gonna show you how to do that using this new blank. So this is the journal cover. You can see the holes right there. If you didn't keep track of how to do it. And so a couple of tools you'll need some scissors with you, and so you can use these some scissors that can cut some elastic, probably a lighter and a pencil. And so I'll go over that as I go through it. The journal elastic, if you, for example, request a spare from me or something, will come 22 inches. So this is 22 inches right here. And one thing you'll do is, but if you order your own spool, one thing you'll need to do as you snip the elastic is you want to cinch the edge right there, just to keep it from fraying. So yeah, that's what you want to do. And you're going to cut out a 22-inch piece, and then you're going to singe both ends with a lighter. Okay. And so once you've done that, you're gonna basically double the elastic up, and then you're gonna find this hole in the middle. Now, depending on your hole and how much you've been using, you can use a pencil to kind of ream that and kind of enlarge the hole a little bit. And then you're gonna take the loop end, right, with your two tails on the bottom, and you're gonna feed this through. Now, I kind of like to pinch it tight, and then kind of just swivel it in there, and then you'll see it kind of start to stick out right there, and just kind of pull it out. Now you want to try to keep these, while you're pulling, you want to try to keep these even. And now this will depend a little bit on your journal. So for example, if you just have a single journal in there, I like to go about, that's just the front and back, I like to go about 75% to 66% across the cover, so that way there's still some tension when you pull it. If you have your journal stuffed and you do stuff like have a bunch of stuff in there, or if you have other journals like I'm going to show you how to do later, you may want to pull this a little bit more, right? You might want to pull it out and have it come even further across. Okay, so once that's in position, you kind of want to hold this with your finger just until you kind of secure it. And what I'll show you how that works is, if you hold this, like right now, if you started to pull on this, you could shorten this loop accidentally. So that's what you're kind of preventing. And then you're gonna take your little pencil, and depending on the holes, you're just gonna enlarge these just a smidge. Okay, so keeping this held with your finger, you're gonna take one end. It doesn't really matter which end. Just take one end, and you're gonna feed it through first this metal hole. And this is also why you want to use the lighter to cinch it. And you want to kind of pull it tight. You don't want too much slack in here, and that's why you're still holding this, pulling this tight. And then you're gonna feed it through this end. So that's what it's gonna look like. And then that will come down to the middle. And so while you're doing that, hold this end, keep holding putting pressure on that, feed it through here, feed it through here. And once you've done this a couple times, that's actually not very difficult. Okay, so now you've essentially secured this from stretching, because if you pull on this, right, it's not going to really give way. Now, the trick here is you want to do a square knot. There's lots of videos on YouTube on how to do a square knot. I'll just kind of show you generally, and you can try to follow along. Let me see if I can zoom in on here. Okay. So a square knot. Now, if you don't do a square knot, it's not a deal breaker. It's elastic, so it can bind knots that you make with it. And generally will bind, but a square knot is ideal. Okay, so you're gonna take the two ends, bring them together, and you're gonna take and loop one underneath to make kind of like a shoelace tie. You're gonna pull that tight, and then kind of pin it, pin it to the middle there, and then you're gonna do another one, but in the opposite direction. So you're gonna pull that this tail and go underneath. And of course, you made a square knot if basically the tails that are exiting out are both on the same loop. So see this little loop that's created here? This little loop that's created. You can see that this tail goes, both tails exit out of this, and then on this loop that's created here, the tails exit the same way. And so once you've got that, you can kind of tighten it up with tighten the first part of it down. Let me pinch it back out. Okay, you're gonna kind of tighten the first knot down, the first thing, and hold it with your finger, and then pull it tight. And basically, you want it to be, relatively snug. And if your journal curls a smidge, that's probably about how you want it. And then with a square knot, you can kind of grab both ends and then just kind of tighten it up a little bit. And then what you want to do is you can keep these long if you want, but I like to trim them up just a little bit, and just singe them from unraveling a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, so there is that, and then you can fit your journal back in inside of it. And then pull this, you can test it, pull it across. Now, depending on the kind of leather you have, you may want to also make this shorter or keep it tight. Some of my veg tan tooling leather, for example, where the leather is a lot stiffer, you may want to make that a little bit longer, a little bit tighter, because sometimes it can tend to want to open up. Once you've had the journal for a while, it should have kind of formed and lay flat, but just kind of play with it. See what you think would work best for you. Now I'm going to show you really quick how to add an elastic. So we'll put this one aside and we'll use this. So this is already pre-done, right? I'm going to show you how to add another journal or calendar or whatever into here, okay? If you want to do something like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your current refill, and then you're gonna cut, and you're gonna singe this a little bit. And what the measurement I like to use is, depending on your refill size, is to measure along the short edge of the refill. So this is the long end, this is the short edge. So we'll trim that up. If you were ordering from me and you request an extra loop, I'll already send one pre-done. But so what you're gonna do is basically use this as the measurement. And then you're going to make a square knot again. And then you end up with another elastic loop. And so what you're going to do with that, there's two ways to do it. The main way I like to do it is you take the elastic and you feed it over the top of this journal and slide it all the way back to kind of behind the spine of it, right? And then you might have to kind of level this out a little bit, shift it around, but yeah. And so once you have done that, it just stays in there. But what you can do is you can add another journal. So if, for example, this is lined paper and you want to have a plain one or a grid paper, Now you can take that loop you made over here. There'll be 2 loops, so you can add that in here. And so now you have 2 journals, right? You have this journal here, and then this journal here. If you wanted to add one more, you can add, there's one more string over here that's still loose, right, from that loop. You could actually add 3 journals. Now, depending on the journal leather thickness that you ordered, it shouldn't stick out too much, but one thing to be aware of is that it could do that. So you end up with something like this, but you have to be aware a little bit of this journal coming out. Over time, once again, this spine will reform, it will get thicker, and it will kind of fold down. Right now it's designed to hold 1 journal, so it's kind of wanting to do that. And that's how you end up with having 3 journals completely in there. So yeah. Alright guys, if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. I will post a link to this elastic. This is a new upgrade elastic. It's 2.5 millimeters. It's a little bit thicker. We were using 2 millimeters before, but we've decided to upgrade to a little bit nicer, a little bit thicker elastic. So I'll post a link to that. And of course, if you order from me and you've gotten and your elastic is frayed, I can always mail you out in like a regular envelope. I can mail you out a strand or 2 of this elastic if you need to replace it. Alright, thanks for watching. Take care.